arrested on December 1st, 1955 for refusing to stand up on the orders of the bus driver after the white seats had been occupied in the front. And of course I was not in the front of the bus as many people have written and spoken that I was, that I got on the bus and took a front seat, but I did not. I took a seat that was just back of where the white people were sitting. And in fact, the last seat, and the man was next to the window, and I took an aisle seat, and there were two women across. And we went on undisturbed until about the second or third stop, when some white people boarded the bus and left one man standing. And when the driver noticed him standing, he told us to stand up and let him have those seats. He referred to them as front seats. And when the other three people, after some hesitancy, stood up, he wanted to know if I was going to stand. I told him I was not, and he told me he would have me arrested. And I told him he may do that. And of course he did. He didn't move the bus any further than where we were, and went out of the bus. I stood in the door, and several people got off. Didn't any white people get off, but several of the black people got off. And shortly thereafter, the two policemen came on the bus, and one asked me if the driver had told me to stand, and I said yes. And he wanted to know why I didn't stand. I told him I didn't think I should have to stand up. And then I asked him, why did they push us around? And he said, and I quote him, "I don't know, but the law is a law and you are under arrest." And with that, I got off the bus under arrest. It was put in the paper that I had been arrested. And of course, there were people, Mr. E.D. Nixon, who was the legal redress chairman of the NAACP, the Montgomery branch of the NAACP. And he'd been made a number of calls during the night and called a number of ministers. And they set a meeting for this. I was arrested on Thursday evening, and on Friday evening is when they had the meeting at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, where Dr. Martin Luther King was the pastor. And a number of citizens came, and I told them the story. And then from then on, it became news about my being arrested. And on my trial, which was December 5th, is when they found me guilty, and I was the lawyers Fred Gray and Charles Langford, who were representing me, they filed an appeal. And of course I didn't pay any fine. They set a meeting at the Holt Street Baptist Church on the evening of December 5th, because that was December 5th was the day that people stayed off in large numbers and did not ride the bus. In fact, most of the buses, I think all of them were just about empty, with the exception maybe a very, very few people. And when they found out that one day's protest had kept the people off the bus, they made well, it came to a vote actually, and it was unanimously decided that they would not ride the buses anymore until changes for the better were made. I don't remember feeling that angry, but I did feel determined to take this as an opportunity to let it be known that I did not want to be treated in that manner, and that we as people had endured it far too long. However, I did not have, at the moment of my arrest, any idea of how the people would react. And since they react favorably, I was willing to go on with their desires. And of course, we formed what was known as the Montgomery Improvement Association on the afternoon of December 5th. And that is when Dr. Martin Luther King became very prominent in our movement, because he was chosen as a spokesman and the president of the Montgomery Improvement Association. As I look back on those days, it's just like a dream, and the only thing that bothered me was that we waited so long to make this protest and to let it be known wherever we go that all of us should be free and equal and have all opportunities that others should have. When I was arrested, I was 42 years old. And there were so many needs for us to continue to work for freedom, because I didn't think that we should have to be treated in the way we were just for the sake of white supremacy, because it was designed to make them feel superior and us feel inferior. And that was the whole plan of racially enforced segregation. Back in Montgomery, during my growing up there, it was completely legally enforced racial segregation, and of course I struggled against it a long time. I felt that it was not right to be deprived of freedom when we were living in the home of the brave and the land of the free. Of course, when I refused to stand up on the orders of the bus driver for a white passenger to take the seat, and when I was not sitting in the front of the bus, as so many people have said, and neither was my feet hurting, as many people have said, but I had made up my mind that I would not give in any longer to legally enforced racial segregation. And of course, that my arrest brought about the protests for more than a year. And in doing so, Dr. Martin Luther King became prominent because he was the leader of our protests, along with many other people. And I'm very glad that this experience that I had then brought about a movement that triggered across the United States and in other places. My mother was one, well, my family, I would say, my mother, my maternal grandparents. I grew up with them, and of course my mother was a teacher in the rural school, and she believed in freedom and equality for people, and did not have the notion that we were supposed to live as we did under legally enforced racial segregation. She didn't believe in it. Just by her attitude and her way she talked, and that we were human beings and we should be treated as such. Just the way I grew up, yes, she did. And of course my grandfather had the same idea as well as my grandmother. both of them were born before the emancipation, before slavery ended, and they suffered a lot as young children during slavery. And of course, after slavery, it was not that much better, but I guess it was some better. And they were farmers, lived in the rural area in Alabama. My mother was a teacher, and I did attend school when she was teaching. And of course, my very first teacher was a Miss Sally Hill, and I liked her very much. In fact, I liked school when I was very young, in spite of the fact that it was a little one-room school for all students, all ages from the very youngest until up to teen, as long as they went to school. And it was only a short term, 5 months of the year instead of the regular 9 months of the year for us. I want to let you know that all of us should be free and equal and have equal opportunity. And that is what I'm trying to instill and encourage and inspire young people to reach their highest potential. We work with young people from the ages of 11 to 17, and our main program is the Pathways to Freedom, and we will be going from Memphis, Tennessee, through 10 other states and Washington, D.C., and in Canada. And it begins July 14th and ends August 8th. And we hope to take as many young people and their chaperones throughout these areas and stop and have workshops and programs. And they'll be traveling by buses rather. And we hope that that will inspire and give them a sense of history, and also to encourage them to be concerned about their health, the history, and to be motivated to reach their highest potential. And we always encourage them to have a spiritual awareness, because I feel that with the spirit within and our belief in ourselves and our faith in God, that we will overcome many obstacles that we could not with negative attitudes. I want to always think in terms of being positive and them being positive and believing in themselves and believing that they should be good citizens and an asset to our country and and to the world. And I believe in peace too, and not violence. I think to believe in yourself and to feel that when you feel like you have the right idea, is to stay with it. And of course, it all depends upon the cooperation of the people around. And since people were very cooperative and stayed off the buses, and from that, of course, we went on to other things. And I, along with Mrs. Steele, who's here with me, organized the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute for the Self-Development. Of course, Raymond being my husband, who's now deceased, and he was another person who inspired me because he believed in freedom and equality himself. I think the American dream should, to have a good life and to live well and to be a good citizen, I think it should apply to all of us. And that it is the land of the free and the home of the brave, and I believe it should be just that with all people who can think of themselves as human beings, and that they will enjoy the blessings of the freedom of this country. We still have a long way to go, and we still have many obstacles and many challenges to face, and it's far from perfect, and it may never be, but I think as long as we do the best we can to improve conditions, then more people will be benefited. I try to not think of those things that we cannot control, but I think if we continue to work with positive attitudes, that conditions will be better for more people. Advice I would give any young person is, first of all, to rid themselves of prejudice and ill will against other people, and to be concerned about what they can do to help others, and of course to get a good education and take advantage of the opportunities that they have, because there are some more opportunities in today's youth than I had when I was young. And whatever they do, to think positively and be concerned about other people as well as, and of course I think in terms of them being able to not succumb to many of the temptations, especially the use of drugs and substances that will destroy the health and physical health as well as mental health. The reason we start with them so young is try to get them before they get into that area, and of course it takes a good family life, and of course there are those who maybe have strayed away, and I would certainly advise them to find some means of helping themselves, even if they have gotten into some problems. And of course we have so many broken homes now, but even those, if they can find some means of being encouraged, and to try to find some role models that people in schools and in churches and whatever means that they can, and other organizations. That's why I believe in organizations, and that we need to be organized to work together instead of being so scattered about and not having any positive outlook on life. When I first met him, it was before I was arrested. I met him in August of 1955, and when he came to be the guest speaker at an NAACP meeting when I was secretary, I was very impressed with his delivery as a person, as a speaker rather, and of course his genuine friendliness as a person. And his attitude was, of course, to work and do whatever he could in the community through his church to make a difference in the way of life we had at that time. And I was really impressed by his leadership, because he seemed to have been a very genuine and very concerned person, and I thought a real Christian.